Your brain says, oh, that's what you want. And it starts to kind of like a homing device, finding ways so that you can get what you keep asking for.
When it's about a life that's being lost, there's nothing you can do to fix that. There's nothing you can do to bring that back. It's the resilience, it's the ability to move forward with it to the point that you don't feel it.
Right.
You don't feel it in the same way.
This wilderness of life, I would say, like if you had a biblical example of it, would be like the children of Israel in the wilderness for 40 years. It wasn't quite 40, but it felt like 40. I think it was over 10 that we were like that. And everything that I touched seemed like it just turned to, wasn't working.
You don't make a decision right now that you're not going to diminish.
Right.
You will. So take this opportunity to expand. I think that part of the grief process for me was letting go of the version of me that was before.
You know, every week, as a subconscious surgeon, I call myself sometimes, helping people find the handbrake that actually holding them back, holding them hostage to their business. But today, I'm letting you see the foundation of this practice. My wife of 35 years, she put up with me for 35 years, the president of Bespoke Human Potential Coaching, Lisa McCullom. Lisa is very special to me. She's obviously been a partner with me through this entire journey. But Lisa is not just the leader in our company. She is the master of integrated capacity. You know, we've survived together financial ruin, professional betrayals, and the ultimate backpack that any parent should ever have to empty or carry was the loss of our son, Adam, over 5 years ago. You know, this isn't an episode about theory. You know, sometimes we talk about theory. This is not about theory, guys. This episode is about how two high achievers use the science of the legit mindset to keep from being crushed by the weight of their own lives. For the first time on a podcast with me together, I'm so honored to have you with me, Lisa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Curtis.
We just left each other, you in your office and I'm in my office, but I felt like we might just want to do it this way. But, you know, you're the president of the company. You actually run the day-to-day operations and what we do. But let the audience know a little bit about Lisa so that they can love you as much as I do. They can never do that, but just let them know a little bit about who Lisa is and what she does.
Well, in the capacity of the company, I feel like I know firsthand what the messaging should be to make sure it's authentic to you. That if it's a video, if it's a post, if it's whatever it is, that it is authentic to your voice and our values and our beliefs and our mission to help as many people as possible to release anything and everything that no longer serves them. So I would say I'm more of the back person, making sure that the mission goes forward. And also I do all the tedious stuff that you don't like to do. So it allows you to do the things that you do best. So.
You know, like, the old saying is that behind every successful person or man or woman, there is someone that actually is holding everything up. And I feel like that is you for our company and for our lives and for our children. You know, we've been through a lot together. You know, we have. Right now, we're in a great season of our life, but it has not always been there. But I know we've had some setbacks and some heartbreaks and some failures. Before we go into the deep one, talk about some of the other things that we've gone through and how those things may have helped us move through where we are now.
Well, I think that early on, when we talk about the financial issues, that I believe the first season we kind of went through that. We were really young, and so there was a lot of laughter. There was a lot of like, okay, and then as we entered the second really, really long season, there wasn't as much laughter. It was really difficult to try to find our footing, really difficult to figure out how do we move forward, especially not understanding that you were literally burnt out. Like you were emotionally burnt out. From my end, it looked easy. Like what you did every day should have been easy, but it wasn't. And it wasn't until really recently that we understood what was happening, that
Right.
the idea that success is difficult and hard, that programming that you were going through, if you looking back now, it makes complete sense. But through that time, I kind of went into the mode of, okay, well, then I have to take charge. I have to move from uncomfortable things. I've never been in the front and had to start, you know, doing phone calls and going out and doing sales calls and still managing the family and still being supportive and understanding from that how to adapt. And
Right.
that adaptation and that resilience and that ability helped to use. Those are some of the tools that I had to use, from the biggest, season of losing Adam, to be able to figure out, how do I adapt? How do I move through this? I don't know how to do this. So let me take the tools I have when I had to go through other difficult things in the past and use those until I have refashioned these tools or developed new tools or acquired new tools.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say that's how the past have kind of helped. They were things that were strengthening things to kind of pull from.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned in your dialogue about, and I want the audience to know, because I'm very transparent about that, is that when we were going through that season, I think you said that I was totally immobilized, right? I was in a point where that you
You
said
just
two words,
couldn't. You just couldn't. You just couldn't. And I couldn't understand that, but there was no time to understand that. It was just time to rally
right?
and to figure out what we had to do. Yeah, but you just couldn't.
Right.
Now
I
I
think
get it. Now I get it.
now you get, you know what I'm saying? People don't understand that sometimes that high achievers, and I had became number one. I was doing really well, and all of a sudden we hit this, I would say, this wilderness of life. I would say, like, if you had a biblical example of it, would be like the children of Israel in the wilderness for 40 years. It wasn't quite 40, but it felt like 40. I think it was over 10 that we were like that. And everything that I touched seemed like it just turned to,
Yes.
wasn't working. So when we looked at that, and we made it through, right? We made it through that bout. And then about 5 years ago, I guess we can just kind of talk a little bit about that now. Because at the same time right before that, this is when we start this company.
Yes.
Bespoke started about a year or so before that,
Hmm.
or in the midst of that. I think I had just finished. I know I was in the midst of certifying as a hypnotherapist at that
Hmm.
time. And then right before then, I think I had got my certification as an executive coach, which I was like, that's not me. I have to go, I had to go and do something different. And then one of the hardest things that we went through, or one of the hardest thing that could happen to any couple or anybody, is that we lost our son Adam. Kind of share with the audience a little bit about that, and how did that now affect you, and how did actually in the legit mindset was actually born from all of this stuff. So go ahead and share with them.
Well, I think that initially, I had an identity. I had an identity. I identified as a mom. I identified as, this, that I can control things. And I learned really quickly in that moment that I could not control this. And so what do I do? How do I move through this? Because in the past, it was like, well, if I just do this, this, or this, that'll fix this.
Right.
But when it's about a life that's being lost, there's nothing you can do to fix that. There's nothing you can do to bring that back. And so very early on in the process, I said this before, I said it to many people, that before I really understood this new version of me, this new higher self, this new their voice came to me and said, I will not allow this to diminish me, but to expand me. I
Right.
don't know where that came from. I don't know. At the time, that was not me at all. It was more of like, I'm looking at my son and I don't know what's going to happen. It does not look good. And
Right.
I've said it before. I should have been on the floor, but something inside of me kind of rallied. And it's like, okay, if you don't get it together right now, if you don't make a decision right now that you're not going to diminish,
Right.
you will. So take this opportunity to expand. And I did. And so along every step, I felt like there were so many learnings, so many new people came into my life and exposed different things, just so many different things about myself that I learned. And so with the legit mindset, it's learning, growing, expanding, and transforming. And, those may seem like they're easy processes, but they're really not, but they're necessary to
Right.
get through grief, to get through so many things in order to make sense of it all, in order to find value in it all. You have to know there's something I'm supposed to learn. And through the process, I am going to transform. I'm not the same person that I was then. There's no way you can be.
Right.
And so you have to adapt and you have to learn and you have to grow and you have to expand, you have to transform. And it's in that transformation that you can use new tools to be able to continue to move forward. So, yeah.
And I know one of the things that we talked about a lot is the somatic weight
Mm,
that you gained during that season of life. Kind of share with them because I want the audience to know now. We lost our son 1 year. I think the following year we lost Lisa's mom, and the following year or so we lost our brother. So it was like a trifecta of loss and grief. So this is not just one. It's a lot of things that we were going through. But obviously the other ones were easier than the first one. But something happened during that time, Lisa, that it's important that the audience know and understand.
Well, first I want to say they're not easier. Losing my mom is not easier.
Right.
Losing my brother, who I only had one sibling and we were super close, that was not easy. However, I understand what you're saying is that it appeared to be easier to handle.
Right. Right.
Now,
Right.
surely Adam was the ultimate of that weight. But I noticed that after the loss of Adam, initially I stopped eating. I think just whatever, the grief. And then when I started eating, I didn't stop eating. And I was gaining weight. But at the same time, I was saying things like, it's so heavy. This weight is so heavy. And sometimes I just have to stop emotionally and give my body a rest to be able to pick it back up again because it's so heavy. And I noticed that that was the messaging I was giving myself and saying out loud.
Right.
And then when my mom was going through her illness, and then when she passed, the weight got a little heavier. And I started saying that again. Man, my plate was already full and I was already carrying a lot. Now the weight is even heavier and more weight came on. And then when my brother passed, understanding higher mind, understanding hypnotherapy, understanding all of it, understanding so many new things, it didn't stop this weight of being so huge at that point that I didn't even realize until I topped a weight that I've never, ever achieved, not through pregnancy, not through anything. And it was like, wait a minute, what am I saying?
Right.
And there was a direct link, like, oh my gosh, I'm saying it. I'm saying I'm carrying so much weight, and it became part of my physiology. I started gaining weight, to the point that even if I was working out, it just was not budging. And it wasn't until I put the two together that, oh, I'm telling myself I'm carrying a lot of weight.
Right.
This is heavy. This is heavy. This is a lot. And it was a lot. And it ended up being a lot of physical weight, and it's like understanding. I want to say this first is that I've met a lot of people that define grief in that way. It's heavy. It's heavy. And that really is how it feels. It's about not negating the feeling, but not identifying
With the
with
feeling.
the feeling.
Right.
And to know that you can carry it. And instead of focusing on the weight, it's the resilience, it's the ability to move forward with it to the point that you don't feel it.
Right.
You don't feel it in the same way. You don't
Right.
feel it as weighing you down in the same way.
I know that we talked a little bit about it, is that's the reticular activating system in our brain, is that people don't understand, is that whatever we say, even we say it jokingly, and obviously you weren't joking at the time, you were just expressing out loud what you were actually feeling, the weight. And this weight, guys, could either be weight of grief, it could be weight of your company, it could be weight of whatever it is that you're going through, but you're using these terms, and your brain says, oh, that's what you want. And it starts to kind of like a homing device, finding ways so that you can get what you keep asking for. And that was what was happening in Lisa's life during that time, is that this was the language. So we have to really be careful about the language that we speak. Now, one thing about grief, what we've learned over the years is that, and you came up with this, and I love this metaphor of the two hands, because it's so important that people understand about the two hands. Share with them about the two hands.
Well, actually, my daughter kind of alluded to it really early on after we lost Adam. And we were talking, and I was talking about the grief and then still feeling gratitude about certain things. And she says, well, Mom, she's like, it's both, and then the idea that we don't have to be one way or the other, meaning we don't have to feel one way, one emotion, because there's multiple emotions at the same time. So the two hands approach is something that I talk about all the time to people that I meet that are going through big or little situations, because you can hold sadness. And for me, sometimes just missing my son so much that I can hardly breathe. But at the same time, I can hold in my other hand the gratitude for my husband, for my daughter, for the community, for my health, for the beautiful flower that I'm looking at. To be able to hold them both, to me, is the most healthy way to move forward, because you are experiencing both. You're experiencing both emotions, and one doesn't have to be the singular one. I learned early on that people would sometimes say to me, oh, you're so strong. You're so strong. Look at you. You're out doing things. And they almost put a guilt or a shame on being able to get back into your new version of life. Like,
right.
I would assume, and they've said it to me, I would be in a corner. It's like all the time. It's like, it's so to be able to carry both, I think it's just the best advice I give so many people.
Yeah. You talked about the identity, the expert identity versus the new Lisa identity. Share with the audience about this identity, because it's so important that they understand the old version of you, or the old version of Lisa, is no longer there. So, and that's important for people to understand.
I think that part of the grief process for me was letting go of the version of me that was before. And I didn't want to, because I really liked that version. I really liked that life. I loved having my son in my life. That meant the family dynamic changed. That meant so many things changed. It's like, I don't want to do that, but you realize that it's not like that anymore. And for a good while, I felt like, and I've mentioned this before, I felt like I had been moved to another reality. My husband was there, my daughter was there, my brother was there, same situation, but this does not feel like me. This is not me. And it's an integration of this new version that you just have to learn to just move through, grow through, learning, growing, expanding, and transforming. It truly is about this transformation and being okay with that, and knowing that this is what it is. This is where I'm moving to. And there's been so many iterations of that version of me since then. The first initial version is not the version that is now. It continues to learn, grow, and expand and transform always. Yeah.
You know, we've gone through a lot. I remember you came to me. Well, I know when we first lost Adam, you experienced hypnotherapy from a hypnotherapist. I'm a hypnotherapist, but guys, in hypnotherapy and what I do is just like most is that I don't like to work on family members or people who are really close to me because of the fact that I might be part of the problem. And so I have to kind of let somebody else be their therapist or their coach or whatever. We talk high level and we do a lot of things together, but share with them your journey with your coach and with Alicia and what she did for you and how it actually affected you.
Well, I think one of the main things that a person must possess, and Curtis, you mention it all the time, is that you must be. You have to be at a point that I must.
Yes.
I must change. I was hurting so badly that when I met Alicia, it was like I didn't really understand hypnotherapy. I had been to seeing a hypnotherapist years and years before, but it was nothing like this. I just knew I needed whatever I could do to help me to get through this process. I needed that. I needed is whatever I could to move past it. Once again, that message that I will not allow this to diminish me, but to expand me. So how do I do that? So in hypnotherapy, kind of moving through that, and even after the first session, I could integrate my pain in a different way. I could release certain things in a certain way. And we continue to work together and to be able to release and to be able to have, these recordings. Curtis has the Bespoke Daily Mental Supplements, which is similar to that, where you take what your higher mind learnings are from the session to be able to listen to them in the morning or at night, to be able to, condition the mind on what these new things are that you've learned. And I've said it before, and I will say it forever. If it wasn't for hypnotherapy, I really don't know where I would be right now. It came at a moment when I didn't know, yes, I'm resilient. Yes, I'm adaptive. Yes, I'm all of those things. However, I don't believe that I could have got to the source of some of the other things that were already programmed in me that were making this even more difficult than what it already was. And the beauty of hypnotherapy is that you think you're going in working on only one thing. Then you find that, there's these other layers that are connected to that. And there are things that I have carried with me through my childhood that I just pushed it aside like, I got that. That's okay. I got that. I didn't have that. It was really impacting many areas of my life. So hypnotherapy has and is and will always be an integral part of my life. It's just like working out. It's like eating properly. It's part of my daily life.
I know you mentioned when we were mentioning, when we were kind of talking a little bit about this, you talked about, you alluded to it as like exercise, like getting in shape, right?
Yeah.
And
it's like you wouldn't, like when you do a 1-day mindset reset.
Right.
People may have let go of a lot of things and they're like, oh, wow, I just feel great. And they never come back and they never listen to the recordings. That would be like working out and getting in phenomenal shape and then going, okay, that's good. I got it. And you never work out again. You have to continue to condition the new version of you, the new healthy part of you, the new in shape, whatever it is that you're doing. No one would ever think that made sense on any other level, that you would do something, get to a certain level and then go, that's it. It just isn't like that,
Right. That, I know when you went through the hypnotherapy and you were still carrying a lot of sadness. I can't remember what it was. But you came to me and you were carrying with sadness, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you came to me and I'm like, I saw you there. I know you were working with Alicia. Let me put this aside note, guys. Number one, Alicia was my hypnotherapist. Lisa came and stole her from me. And now they're considering themselves sisters. So I'm out of the picture. I have nothing to do with Alicia right now. but but you guys were working in, but you were still something heavy was on your heart, and I said, sweetie, I can do this for you through M.E.R, mental emotional release, to help you get through this part of it, to get you to the next hump.
Right.
How did that affect you, and what did it do for you?
Well, I think that I understood that I could, like, we talked about the two hands. I understood that I could carry both the sadness and the gratitude, joy in the other hand. But I had this misnomer, I had this erroneous belief that if I didn't feel the weight, that equated to the value of the love for Adam. And so to let it go meant I was somehow diminishing the love for him. And so when we went through the M.E.R session, I was able to come to terms with higher mind and understand that there's nothing that would ever stop me from loving him. There is nothing that would, nothing. I'll love him till the end of time. So by being able to understand that, I didn't have to carry the weight. The weight wasn't necessary because the love was there. If the love was there, then why did I need the weight? So we let it go. And I haven't had it since then.
How long was the session that we had when we finally got to do it?
About 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. And that session of letting go of that weight rippled into letting go of so many other heaviness in life, of things that you just hold on to and you just need to let it go. So it kind of, spilled over into those areas too. Just like, oh, that's not really that big of a deal. So let's just let that go. That's just not, so yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
If success is costing you your sanctuary, let's talk. This episode is about integrated capacity. Before you try to scale another revenue peak, let's perform a subconscious audit on your leadership and on your life. Stop brute forcing results. Visit Bespoke Human Potential Coaching today. It's right in the corner. Let's get it done today. Let's get back to Lisa right now. Lisa, you talked about the gift of grief. Wow, the gift of grief. I know somebody says a gift, you think something is going to be wrapped. I mean, have you ever seen Lisa's gift that she gives? I mean, she nobody likes to open her gifts because they're wrapped so freaking pretty. They're like, oh my God, meticulously pretty. But then you're talking about the gift of grief. This is not what you're talking about. Because share with the audience a little bit about the gift of grief.
Well, the gift of grief is that I didn't ask to lose my son. I didn't ask for my mom to pass the way she did. I didn't ask to lose my brother. But in that, of letting go, it's the lesson of letting go and having to recreate this new version of Lisa, this new reality for me. What does that look like? And the gift of grief is that since I had to become a new version of me, I get to now choose. Who do I want to be? What do I believe? What do I truly believe? Not what my mom told me, my dad taught me, what, the culture tells me, what do I believe? How do I want to live my life? Who do I want to be surrounded by? And what is most important in my life that I want to move forward with? And I think that is the gift of grief, is to know that, to take the concept of letting go and to being forced to let go. And now go, oh, you're right. You're forced. I didn't want that.
Right.
So if that's what it is, okay, then now I get to choose. I get to choose who I get to be. I get to choose how I'm going to move forward with my life. I get to choose what relationships I want to keep in my life, which ones I don't want that are no longer useful. I get to make those decisions to bring my life meaning and joy as I move through with this journey, carrying and integrating my son, my mom, my brother. How do I integrate this new version of me, who I am, into this new person? And it's powerful to be able to make that choice, because I don't think most people, unless they've hit a wall, unless they've hit a point of, I have to change,
Right.
that they go, oh, okay, then, well, let me choose. Or to even evaluate, do I believe what they told me? Is that really true? To even
Right.
look at it and to have the courage to change. When you go through grief, it's not really about courage. It's about survival. It's about, okay, that person is gone. How do I now become this new version so that I can keep moving?
Right.
Because to hold on to this is not healthy because they're not there anymore. Yeah.
And I think that goes to what we've coined now in the last month or so, the university capacity principle.
The universal capacity.
Right. University capacity, because you couldn't even fit the new version until you empty the backpack to get immeasurably more.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that Alicia and I talk about this a lot because we have both lost children. And it's that the gift is, if I had not experienced that kind of love, if I had not experienced that kind of loss, I would not be who I am now. I would not be as enlightened. I would not be as kind. I would not be as intentional about certain things. It just kind of, well, for us, it has allowed us to be more. The loss, the life, has allowed us to be more than we were before. And so when you talk about capacity, without those, humongous painful moments, I would not be who I am now. But that was because you dump out stuff that you no longer need in order to be able to become more, to expand, And so the word expansion has been with me for over 5 years now. And so it's just interesting that became that became one of the acronyms of our whole belief system for Bespoke. Learning, growing, expanding, and transforming.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
This is what it's all about. So,
That's what it's all about.
what would be something you would leave with the audience, Lisa? What would you leave with the audience? Because I want the people to understand is that, yeah, we're talking about the grief of our son, but just stop for a second and see how that affects you, whatever you're going through, regardless of what that is. And it could be something in business. It could be something in your relationship. It could be something, whatever it may be. You still could be grieving over something differently. So now share with the audience, what can you leave with the audience that they can kind of take with them, Lisa?
What I share with people very often is, one thing is that when they're having a difficult time, you already possess everything within you to meet any and every moment. You may not know it yet, but you do. And knowing that means that if you search within yourself, if you search your higher mind, if you ask, what do I need to do next? How do I, just asking. No whys. Why did this happen? Why is it down a rabbit hole? So don't ever ask why, because your mind's going to come up with all this stuff and none of it is true. And I think that for me, what has helped is that even on the lowest of days, I still practice gratitude. So every night before I go to sleep, it's like, okay, what happened today that I'm grateful for? And it could be, some days are rough and there's not, if it's been a rough day, then you go, okay, I'm thankful that I got through this day. I'm thankful for the roof over my head. I'm thankful for my spouse. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for my community. I'm thankful to have a healthy body. I'm thankful. And if gratitude is mixed in there, it's hard to stay in a really down state. It kind of helps you to bring back up the good. So it's the two hands, right? It's like I'm acknowledging this was a rough day or this is a rough season, but today, wow, I saw the prettiest flower. I just was able to just be present with or I saw a beautiful sunset. Curtis and I have taken trips, and one of the things we really love the most are sunsets. We love to sunrise and sunset, get up early in the morning and watch the sunrise. Doesn't mean that there's not other stuff going on. It's just like, wow, look at that sunset. Look at that sunrise. So gratitude, knowing you have everything within you to meet every moment. You don't have to worry about what would happen if this happened. Don't worry about that. You have it within you to meet the moment. Be present and live that moment.
Wow. Thank you, Lisa. I mean, I know this was not easy, um, but we appreciate what you did. So, guys, just what if you just stop for a second and think about what we shared today with you. First of all, I want to thank Lisa for taking out time in her busy schedule of all the other things that she does around the house, making sure everything runs. And we just really appreciate you as our leader who basically runs the day-to-day operations of Bespoke Human. It wouldn't, I couldn't do it without you, and I really appreciate you. Guys, if you felt like this episode was something beneficial for you, we'd like for you to subscribe and review and share this with a couple who's successful but exhausted. Let's unbuckle the scraps. Head over to Bespoke Human Potential Coaching and book your subconscious audit today with our team. My name is Curtis McCullom, and be legit.